Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Chris Kelso, filling in for Kevin Price about making the world a better place. Remember, you can catch this show and all of our prior shows on priceofbusiness.com. You can also check us out on U.S. Daily Review for a lot of great things that are coming up and great contribution and great news and articles. Lastly up right now, we actually have Chris Kidd. Chris, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Let us know a little bit about who you are and what you do, if you don't mind.
I'm a financial coach, and basically I work with people to help them on improve their financial situations, whether it's managing their money in a better way, getting out of debt, learning to be better investors and more proactive rather than reactive or passive, and also work with young entrepreneurs on helping start businesses and stuff and turn their passion into profits.
Passion into I like that a lot, by the way. I tell everybody financial illiteracy is still at an all-time high in this country, and we need to make sure that we educate individuals as to the importance of understanding their financial situation, and more importantly, individuals like yourself who can get them and guide them in the right area. And you have a great guest with us today.
Yeah, my guest today is a former NFL player, played with the San Francisco 49ers for a while. He's got some amazing things that he's doing off the field now, and it's also sports related, but I'll let him tell us about it.
Well, and I'm sure the 49ers could use him on the field this year, by the way.
Well, my guest is Tyrone Smith, and he's actually with First and Goal, which is a organization we'll let him talk about here in a minute, but good to have you on, Tyrone.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us, I guess, a little bit of what you learned as far as coming into the NFL, and I know that that the acronym on that is not for long, but what are some things that you learned there, and some things from a financial perspective that young athletes that are making that transition need to keep in mind as far as thinking for the future and stuff?
I mean, you can definitely trust and believe that the NFL definitely stands for not for long, because after playing for 4 years and having an unfortunate injury where I actually fractured and broke my T5 vertebrae, and going through 8.5 months of rehab, I realized there was so much more to do with my life beyond the game. And so one thing I would tell any and every young athlete is to really prepare for the future, because you can have a desire to actually reach whatever goal you may have in regards to making to professional sports. But after that, really, what do you do? And I think the most critical thing for athletes today is to truly have a plan beyond the game, a plan beyond plan A, having a plan B, something to fall back on.
And not just, I know you can make a lot of money, but the cash flow is a totally different thing than having cash, and the money can run out if it's not managed correctly. And a lot of times, if you get accustomed to making $500,000, a couple million a year, and then all of a sudden that paycheck is gone, and it can be like almost overnight. Like you said, you got to prepare so that you can do something to replace that later on.
And you're speaking about that. I guess one of the things that's very, you mentioned that financial planning, not for long NFL, you had a successful career, you're there, all of a sudden you injure yourself. How do you prepare yourself after that? I mean, obviously you said that, you started thinking about preparing for life after the NFL, but I can imagine during that time frame, what sort of goes through your mind? How do you get through that process? And financially speaking, what's the impact?
I mean, one of the things I realized and knew beyond the game, I wanted to create a program that would actually impact the lives of young people. And I wanted to use my influence outside of the game as well to make a difference in the world and the community that we actually live in. And here it is. I played professional football for 4 years and got injured. I was smart with my money. I did pretty good with my money, and I knew that it wouldn't last forever. So the thing about it is really connecting yourself and surrounding yourself with good people who will hold you accountable to make sure that you do things the right way in regards to, saving your money that you're actually going to earn. But yet in that as well, you got to be intentional to actually educate yourself also, because I was talking with Chris earlier, I actually lost some money because of bad investments, because I trusted so much in those people who were really supporting me and really giving them all the insight to just trust their guidance, where I really educated myself just that much more.
I was reading an article the other day. It was talking about the top 20 athletes that were the highest paid and now are absolutely broke. And it had nothing to do with it. It was NFL and NBA and, it was a little bit of everything right there. And it's pretty amazing, as you mentioned, a lot of them contributed to the fact that, number one, they trusted their insiders, for lack of a better word, didn't really go to professionals, and sort of let that happen. And all of a sudden, those $100 million contracts are worth nothing after, a 10-year period of playing, a professional sport. And so you're right. I think it's important. Chris is an individual, for example. It's important to go with somebody in which knows the market and can plan for your future.
Right. I mean, I think that is so key because there's nothing wrong with actually educating yourself, because guys get to the point where they make this money, they're uncomfortable, but at the same time, you got to get outside your comfort zone to have a greater understanding about, the sacrifice that you actually make with your body, just as well with the wealth that you receive also.
Yeah. Well, to transition, let's talk about what you're doing with the Team First and Goal. And I know that you're also associated with the FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, who actually helped set up this interview today. We had them on just a couple weeks ago. But tell us a little bit about First and Goal and what you're doing with the community here.
After playing professional football for 4 years, 15 years ago, I started an organization called First and Goal, Inc. And the mission of First and Goal, Inc. is to provide the necessary tools, resources, and outlets for you to be effective members of society. So what we do through First and Goal, Inc., we go around the city, the state, and the country doing group mentoring programs for young people to talk to them about choices, decisions, self-awareness, setting goals, and conflict resolution.
Wow. And there's never an age that's too young to start, is there?
Never too young.
Yeah.
Never too young to start, to really challenge you to actually redirect their mindset and trust and know and believe they're all created to be leaders.
Right. And the reason why I say that is we live in Texas. I mean, have you ever seen Texas football? Have you gone out to like a little league Texas football?
Oh, yeah.
Parents are psycho, by the way. I'm just saying that, and I will say that I've been to somebody, I'm like, he's 5 years old. Who cares if he missed the tackle, right?
Right.
But I think it's also important because it educates a lot of times the player. But I think sometimes the families need to have that education as well, because a lot of times they're taking this whole thing on, and the whole family gets involved in growing and through this process. So we are in Texas, and I think as you mentioned, never too young to start learning that in an early stage. So.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you face as far as with the mentorship and stuff? And because I know these kids absolutely, like you said, they need mentorship. There's a lot certainly in the inner cities and everywhere really that have there's a fatherless epidemic in America. It's seems to be better in some areas, but still, there's so many kids that they grow up, their parents are either absent from things that they're involved in or totally absent, period. What kind of things do y'all see as far as what you're doing with the mentorship there? And then also, what are some specific areas that y'all get into?
With society lacking and young people lacking and having a mom that's not there or a dad that's not there, what I try to do is really challenge the students to really, rethink through what it is they can actually do as individuals. I let them know, number one, as an individual, my mom didn't finish middle school. My dad didn't finish high school. I'm the youngest of three boys. My oldest brother is 50 years old. He was just released from prison for the third time. But I realized, despite the fact people told me I couldn't do anything, people told me I couldn't accomplish anything, people told me my head was too big when I was younger, I was driven to succeed because I had to realize it was about me loving myself first and foremost. I'm coming before you today as a one-year starter on varsity in high school, and I received over 50 D1 offers. But one thing that all colleges appreciated about me is that when they came to visit Tyrone Smith as one-year starter, they saw that his academics were sound. So I was able to go to any one of the 51-plus universities that actually were offering me a Division I scholarship. Went to Baylor University, graduated from Baylor University with my bachelor's degree in sociology and social work. So I let you know, yes, you may not come from the best household, the best situation, or the best community, but at the same time, if you love yourself enough and know that you have to will yourself to make sacrifices, you can overcome just as long as you believe.
Right, absolutely. And let me tell you, Bears got a great program this year.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They've had one for a long time.
Let me Bears.
Yeah. And let me tell you, the Bears, it's been a very interesting college football year this year, by the way. And
yes.
Baylor was right there
right
for the
there,
longest
man.
time.
The fourth quarterback. We went through three quarterbacks,
yes.
man. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I know. We can sit here and talk sports forever, but I do know we have more of a business show to run. But yeah, I absolutely agree. What would you like to obviously we're coming up against a couple of minutes here. What would you like to let our listening audience know, will leave them with, I guess, as far as who you are and how they can engage with you?
One thing I try to let everybody know is to recognize as you listen today that, you have value as an individual. You're capable of achieving amazing things. But the biggest thing is, are you willing to challenge yourself daily despite the odds or the things that you deal with and go through as an individual? People can connect with me. My website is teamfirstandgoal.org. I can be reached also through TyroneSmith24.com. I'm actually doing the work on a greater capacity as well with the Church Without Walls, while I oversee the youth ministry as well as the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And I thank my man Eric Amnes for really making those things happen to allow me to use my influence to make an impact in the world that we live in.
That is awesome. It's always really, really, really good to be giving back. Let me tell you, you're a great individual. You got some great things going on, and to be able to give back to the community is absolutely important. Chris, how can we reach you if you don't mind?
You can reach me at chriskid.com. That's 2 Ds, but even if you misspell it, it'll still probably find me. And follow me on Twitter, Facebook, all of that. My Twitter handle's at Chris_kid. I do also want to mention that Tyrone has a book that will be coming out as well. What's that called?
Outside the Huddle, Steps to Developing a Game Plan for Life.
And that'll be later this year?
Yeah,
or?
Spring 2016 is the book release, yes.
2016, I like that. Outside the Huddle. Well, I could sit here and talk forever, not only football, but the game of life, and more importantly, the game of finance. But we're coming up against this show. I appreciate both of you being on it today.
Thank you.
For all those tuned in, you are tuned in to The Price of Business. Again, it is not showing. It's just transferring over to the web. You can catch us out at priceofbusiness.com. Until next time, we are out.